Hello,
Okay.
hello,
Hi.
everybody. I am here today to talk about every whoever wants to talk to me about their spirituality and what kind of sacred secrets that we can, well, uncover or debunk or demystify, I think is probably where I'm going with this. So today I am talking to a friend of mine who I met on Instagram, which I feel like is the best place ever to meet like-minded people. And
Yes.
and she's here. We're going to chat for a little while about spirituality and about sacred secrets. So, hi Cherie, how are you?
Hi. I'm fabulous. How are you?
Great. I'm great. I'm great. This is really fun. It's so nice to see your
Yes.
face because we only chat, on in the messenger on
Yeah.
Instagram. Super.
Yeah. And I don't like doing live videos, so I don't have any of those many out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about like your where you're at in your spiritual journey or like a little bit about yourself or whatever you want to share and to help people
Yeah.
understand themselves better.
Yeah. I mean, I know I was born with abilities that I probably don't really understand. Because I had a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse, mentally, physically, possibly sexually, but I've suppressed a lot of it. So memories are coming back a lot, but no more than I can handle. I've realized some days I'm like, I want to remember everything, and then I'm like, if I was supposed to remember everything at that time, I would. So I'm realizing small things are coming back, and it's given me the ability to process it
Yeah.
in my own way
Yeah.
and get through it. Uh, I guess my spiritual journey started after my brother died. I was kind of angry
Mm,
more than anything. Not that I didn't understand death or believe in reincarnation or knew that he would come back. It was just now, how does my journey go on without him, kind of a thing.
mhm.
And so I started seeking out spirituality, reading, and then, life happens and you have to live your life and you think you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You follow the news, you follow the doctors, you follow your parents, you follow everything that you've been trained to listen to and follow and believe until you finally wake up and you're like, okay, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. Something doesn't feel right. I just feel lost. Um, I had several diagnoses of medical conditions at one time on 25 plus different medications,
Mm.
migraine, I mean, you name it. Um, and on pain pills by the doctor, off pain pills by the doctor, blah, blah, blah. I guess the point where I was able to take myself off of pain meds probably 3 or 4 times on my own, I kind of woke up and go, I'm not normal. That's not normal. Most people can't do that. So the fact that you've done it so many times, there's something behind that. And that's kind of where I started going, okay, what's going on here? Like, they're telling me you can't go off these drugs without more drugs. They're telling you you'll fall back into this pattern. You'll be all these things that other people are. And I'm like, but that's not me. I'm not like that. I'm different. There's something different about me. And that's where I started going, okay, I need to really talk to other people. And that's honestly where I've gotten most of my spirituality is listening to other people and going, okay, they feel the way I do, or they can relate to what I can relate to, and more than a doctor or a psychiatrist or a pill. Um, and then COVID happened, and it was like at first I fell into that trap of fear, uncertainty, but then also going, okay, this is a virus. Like, I've had viruses. I mean, I almost died from flu symptoms, mind you, symptoms,
Mm.
which is dehydration, not eating, that kind of thing when you get a virus.
Mhm.
And I survived. It was awful. I was uncomfortable, but I also knew I wasn't going to die of it. I knew it wasn't going to cause severe repercussions of anything in my body. Yeah. So it just, I think we need people. We need to talk to other people. We need to listen to other people's stories. We need to connect, because if we don't, we're just going to listen to other, like the news and the doctors and the people that want to feed us with their interpretations or their knowledge or their whatever. So yeah, I've been through a lot. I have 5 kids. I have 2 stepkids. I've been married a couple times. Yeah, I mean, I went to church once or twice as a child, forced by a step parent. I mean, I had fun. I was a teen, like young kid, so I enjoyed being around other kids. But I never opened the Bible. I never wanted to. I just didn't. Growing up, I always knew there was something bigger than me. That's it. I wasn't raised with religion. I wasn't raised with a Bible. I was raised with morals from one parent, and then total opposite from the other parent. Racism, small-minded town thought processes, a father that was very manly. Yeah. So not very open-minded. So I just kind of had to, I don't think my parents liked me because I was very vocal on my thoughts and feelings of how what they thought and felt was wrong and innately just didn't feel right. And parents don't like to hear that from their kids.
That kind of a culture, I guess it's not okay for the kids to have a voice, right? It's like, don't be seen, don't be heard, just exist in the background, right? And that doesn't it doesn't bode well for many kids, because many kids are really sensitive, and they go, okay, I guess I'm only going to get love if I disappear, and then they disappear into the nothingness, and
that was me.
That force comes back, like it seems like it did for you, and pushed you through, like to come out of hiding, right?
Yeah, I know for a fact I have a lot of people on the other side of the veil that are always there with me, that are always protecting me. I mean, there's been many times in my life I probably should have died, family members that should have died, diagnoses that should have taken them. My sister, stage 4 melanoma. They're like, you're not coming back from it. You're just not. She had one treatment of radiation that almost killed her, but all of a sudden now she doesn't have stage 4 melanoma after one radiation treatment. Now that's just really unheard of. So, and I prayed, of course, I prayed for my sister, and then I went and got the skin cancer test. You do everything out of fear, really. And then I realized, why am I fearful of something that my sister had that I don't have, that, so yeah, my sister is a very unhealthy.
To think genetics is everything, right? Like,
like, oh, your mom had it, you're going to have it. Oh, your dad had it, you're going to have it. Oh, you're definitely going to have it. No, I don't want it. I mean, that's basically what I did my whole life was, I don't want it. No. Oh, I definitely don't want it. Like, and I think most people's thought process is, oh, well, it's destined. I'm going to have it. Like, okay, well, you are now, because you just told your body you are. See, I grew up telling my body, absolutely not. I don't want that. I don't want that in my body. I don't want to ever have that. And I besides the diagnoses I've been given, that I healed myself of all of them. I healed them just with my mind, I guess. I just said, I don't want to have fibromyalgia anymore. It hurts. I don't want to have this. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to feel like this. I don't like it. And I guess my DNA structure is pretty smart, because it's like, okay, you don't want it, let's get rid of it. Now that obviously didn't happen overnight. Obviously, it's like manifesting things in your life. It doesn't happen overnight, but if you genuinely believe that, then anything's possible. That's the way I feel. So,
and everybody is allowed to have their own way to view the world, right? Like, and I tend to fall somewhere in the middle. I don't really know exactly where I fall, but I do believe in the power of the mind. I believe in the power of thinking and emotions and clearing out stuck energy from your your emotions that you've suppressed when you were taught to hide
Yep.
back in the early days,
Yep.
or things from past lives and everything like that. And then there's this whole other
Yeah.
bucket of karma and
Yeah.
destiny, and what things are put in our path that we then have the ability to change ourselves, right? Like, I think the
Yep.
difference between fate and destiny is that fate are those moments that you get to decide what to do with them, and destiny are the things that are going to happen no matter what, or the
Yeah.
people you will meet, something that's been contracted, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I love the thinking of not everything is black and white. There isn't just one way to think. There's so many possibilities happening here. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. It is. And that's why I want to
Yeah.
talk to people, because there's so many ways to think about
Yeah.
this, and why not like
Yeah.
expand on how we think about things by just listening to other people ramble on for 20 minutes, like something. There's always
Yeah.
magic in the in between, like when you're reading a
There is.
book, there's magic in between the lines that just comes out at you. And when you're listening to conversations, there's magic that
Yeah.
hits you, even if it's not the exact word coming out of our mouth. Something then sparks something inside of you, and you were able to shift
Yeah.
something. So yeah, I think this
Yeah.
is super important to talk about. And honestly, in my experience with a lot of friends of mine in my circles, like the spiritual circle I have, is they're also remembering things. And they're all different ages, so I don't think it's an age thing, because I think sometimes we get lumped in
No.
with, like, when we're this old we'll start doing
Yeah.
XYZ. But I think it's something in
Yeah.
I don't know, without sounding too crazy, we were something in the air that is like, like bringing
But
up a
there
lot
is
of stuff.
something in the air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And there's planets doing their thing, out in space, that are, I don't want to, they're not dictating our feelings, but they're reflecting them, you know?
Yeah.
It's that.
Exactly. Exactly. And the whole thing, like you said, about listening to people, like we think we're listening, but we aren't always really listening.
Mm.
Um, and I can say there's several people in my life that have guided me the right way, or given me good tips, or given me this or whatever. And they all have. We can take something from every relationship and every conversation. But my stepchild literally is the one that brought me out of this hole that I was in,
Mm.
um, around Christmas, this past Christmas. And it was listen to Abraham Hicks. Now, I had listened to Abraham Hicks before, I thought, and I thought my stepchild had told me this before, and they said they had, and I never listened. I was like, yeah, I'll look at it, I'll listen, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one, I don't even remember what the video was. It was one YouTube video with Abraham Hicks, and I just felt at home. I felt like, oh my God, this is like my mother figure I never had. And it was just a soul connection. Maybe it was what she said. Maybe it was her voice. Maybe it was how she carried herself. Maybe it's that she's a channeler, and maybe that's where I'm going in life. Like, you just don't know. But that Abraham and Cryon, Lee Carroll, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, those are the ones that pulled me out of that black hole that I was so far into and didn't think I'd ever come out of again, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be any speaker. It can be anybody that's spiritual. You've helped me in ways that you probably don't realize, just from being you, just from being able to relate with situations or how you're feeling in a certain moment. Like, I can go, oh, I get what she's saying. Now, I don't know her. She could have 10 kids. She could have no kids. She could have 6 marriages that didn't work. It doesn't matter. It's just, if you have a feeling, an interpretation, a synchronicity, something I can relate to, I feel better in my journey.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it will help you feel better in your journey when I say, oh, I can relate to that. That makes sense. Oh, I get that. Just one-on-one can pull somebody out of something that you don't even have any idea they're down into,
Right.
that rabbit
You have
hole.
no control over that. And it's a beautiful thing when expression is our greatest gift we can give people. And people are so afraid to express
Yep.
because of the shame that our society's put on them for expressing who they
Yeah.
really are. But what we have to
Yeah.
remember is if we can just be resilient to that shame, we help more people than we get hurt in the process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
just by
Exactly.
expressing your thoughts, expressing your, like you said, interpretations or perspectives of something you're going through at that moment really
Yeah.
sparks something in somebody else, even if it's not the exact words coming out of somebody's mouth, but that in between, like that in between the
Yeah.
lines kind of thing, that just the force that comes through it hits you. So it is super important, I think, that we all become a little stronger in what it feels like to be vulnerable, you know, like to share something really
Yeah.
scary and
Yeah.
and then share it because it's helpful.
Yeah.
Like it's helpful for
Yeah.
like when I share, it's because I have to let it out. If I don't let it out, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
And it
Yep.
and it
Me too.
helps the other person too, you know. It's and
Yep.
there's a, you know, there's this difference between like over venting and expressing. I think there's like a boundary issue happening there if you're always just barfing up everything possible. But when you have a like an inspired thought and you hold it in,
Yeah.
it's like, no, that's not why you get those. You know, you have to either
Yeah.
through art, through your words, through music, whatever, stomping on the ground, dancing, anything, expressing that inspired thought is healing for
Yeah.
both people involved. And also the person that's
Yeah.
shaming you is getting triggered, right? So there's something
Yeah.
healing in that for them as well if they're willing to look at it, you know.
Yeah.
If they're
Yeah.
willing to go, why
Yeah.
did that just piss me off, you know? And eventually they go,
Yeah.
oh, I know why. Now I'm healed from it. So yeah, yeah, this
Yeah.
is great. This is really
Yeah.
awesome. Anything else
Yeah.
you want
And
to share or talk about?
no, I just, a lot of it, I see a lot. I don't watch the news anymore. The only news I get is what people tell me. And then if I go on social media and I see something, sometimes I'm like, I go to push the click on read it. And then I'm like, do I really want to read it? Maybe I don't want to read it, So you kind of have to create your own filter. You kind of have to
Yes.
create, I've had a lot of people lately that have unfriended me, have called me a conspiracy theorist. And I honestly don't even really understand the whole conspiracy theorist title or what that means or what's behind it. I honestly don't. It's just, for me, it's like if something doesn't feel right about what you've been told, there's a reason. Like
Yeah.
there's just a reason. It doesn't sit right in your soul. That doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't mean you're a conspiracy theorist. It just means that you seek more information to process what you're hearing as to whether it's fact, not fact, feels wrong, feels right, engage or don't engage.
Yeah.
That's
And I'd
basically,
like
for
to,
me, is what I've done is, yeah, I've stopped engaging, because it's like, why am I going to engage and argue with you about something that I know feels right or wrong? You feel differently, and you're absolutely allowed to. But
yeah,
I'm not going to judge you to call you anything different than you have your own mind and feelings, and you're privy to that, as I am
right.
myself.
And I'd
That's
like to
it.
bring that conspiracy theory or theorist idea down to earth for a second. So, and make it practical because there is something about being afraid when you get that feeling of like something
Yeah.
doesn't sit right, right? Something isn't right here. Every time
Yeah.
you're afraid of getting called a conspiracy theorist and you don't go deeper, you're denying your own self. You're telling every
Right.
little girl that ever lived inside of you that what you should trust isn't trustworthy. Like everything
Right.
about your own inner guidance system isn't trustworthy. So even if you are
Yeah.
afraid to be called that, I think it's really important that you at least don't deny the very real inner child inside of you that's saying, hey, something's not right here. And every time we push her down, we actually push ourselves down and
Yeah.
lower our own sense of self worth, which means
Yeah.
we have no personal power at that point. So there's a very real thing about when something doesn't feel right. to dig into it, whether or not you're going to be called a name. Be stronger than the name,
Yeah.
right? Like be more
Yeah.
resilient than that,
Yeah.
because you're really doing damage to yourself, your inner self,
Yeah.
by doing that. So I think we're going to leave it at that for today. This is an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for coming
Yeah.
on and sharing all of these things that are vulnerable. They're not easy to
Yeah.
share when somebody's like, you know, giving their innermost thoughts and words. So I really appreciate you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah, maybe we'll do this again. We'll see how it goes with like all these
Yeah.
conversations I'm having. So yeah, for sure. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you
You
on
too. Thank you. All
All
right.
right,
Bye.
bye.